all of you on being sworn in today. And I congratulate all the people of Uganda for having successfully held the elections in spite of the corona epidemic, and having held the elections peacefully, although some people were trying to bring violence, but we had peaceful elections which were mainly virtual. The campaign was mainly virtual. You remember some people were refusing to campaign virtually, they were trying to gather people. And you see what has resulted from that. You have seen how many people have died. When we were telling them, please, campaign, but campaign through the radio, don't endanger people. But some people didn't listen. And you see what has come out of that. But I congratulate Ugandans for having held the elections in spite of all those challenges. Now we have got a parliament for the next 5 years, and now we have got a cabinet. So we are set now. This ceremony was to swear in, it is part of the Constitution. We shall therefore have our first cabinet meeting next Monday, the Monday in Entebbe. Because cabinet meetings are allowed so that the country keeps running in spite of the lockdown. As you know, Uganda had become a failed state. Because I want to tell the country the mission of this cabinet now. Uganda had become a failed state. The economy had collapsed. The institutions like the army had collapsed. So it was the freedom fighters and the people of Uganda who, led by the NRM, who reversed this situation after a long struggle. First of all, we had to fight for the freedom to make sure that the people are in power. People are in power through elections. That's what it means. The people in power now are the people, because they're the ones who elect. The NRM is simply a participant which gets enough support from the population to run the country, but otherwise the power belongs to the people. When we won the victory, we first of all dealt with the issue of security, building a new and modern army, national, not tribal, that has been able to ensure peace in the country. That was one very big achievement. But secondly, by using the strategy of the private sector-led growth, we were able to reverse the decline of the economy in a fairly short time. In the last 35 years, a lot has been achieved, and this is demonstrable quantitatively, not just an opinion. I really get surprised. There is a paper called Monitor. That paper has got some very bad people there who keep telling lies, writing every day they are telling lies. I kept one of the papers where they were giving those guys, and one day I will answer them in writing. But the fact of the matter is that in the last 35 years, we have achieved a lot of growth. During the budget and the State of the Nation address, I told you, Andrew Gorowe told you in his speech, which was written to him by the civil servants, that the economy had grown from $1.5 billion in 1986 to now $40 billion. You remember what I said in the State of the Nation? I said internationally this is still small. But for us, given where we came from, this is a very big achievement. It means that the economy has grown 31 times in terms of size. If it was one size in 1986, it is now 31 times bigger than it was in 1986. And according to that moderate rate of growth, the economy will be about $70 billion by 2026. But you remember what I said in the State of the Nation, that I'm not satisfied with that. You remember what I said. But still, the fact is that we have gone a long way from where we started. If you take individual items, coffee were exporting 2 million bags in 1986. We are now exporting 8 million, almost 9 million bags of coffee. Maize, we are producing 200,000 tons in a year. We are now producing 5 million tons. Milk, we are producing 200 million liters in a year. We are now producing 2.6 billion liters. Tea, we are producing 3 million kilograms in 1986. We are now producing 60 million kilograms. The cattle population had been depleted. We had only about 3 million cows. Somebody whispered to me that the recent census showed that it was now 18 million cows. I don't know whether I have not checked that. But even if not yet 18 million, at least in the other census we knew it was 14 million cows, compared to 3 million in 1986. Sugar production from zero production, 600,000 tons in a year. That's why we had a surplus and we had a problem of selling it. Industrial products of all type, mattresses, cement, all that. Tourism, from almost zero earnings, 1986, to $1.6 billion before the onset of Corona. The students in the primary schools, 2.5 million, 1986. Now, 10.8 million. The ones in the secondary schools, 200,000. Now, 2.6 million. In the university, only 5,000 students in the university. Now, more than 200,000. And as you remember, when we closed the schools had a population of 15 million children. That's about 1/3 the population of Uganda. They were in the school system, 15 million. Life expectancy from 43 years to now 63 years. Infant mortality for every 1,000 born alive. 122 were dying by 1986. Now only 43 are dying before the first birthday out of 1,000. Infrastructure, roads, electricity, telephones, piped water. That is physical infrastructure. You come to social infrastructure, the classrooms, the health centers, and so on. Now, the biggest good news in the last budget, which was not so much highlighted because these civil servants who write those documents, their understanding is distorted, is the decline of the Abakorera Echida Kyonka, the ones teach me each keken, those who work only for the stomach. You remember, I have been shouting since 2013, I've been shouting about the 68% of the homesteads which were still in the non-money economy. According to Rugorovi's speech the other day, which was written by these wonderful civil servants, only 39% now of, I think, of the homesteads, according to the recent household survey, are still in the non-money economy, which means 61% for the first time, 61% of the homesteads, if that is correct, 61% of the population are now in the money economy. And only 39% are still working only for the stomach, which this cabinet must now resolve, that everybody must work for the money, for the pocket, and also the stomach. But we have already moved, as you can hear. And this is what we mean, this is what we've been talking about by social economic transformation, the society to change. Now, all these achievements have been attained in spite of the opposition, because we have been being opposed. I have been operating like a guerrilla. I was a guerrilla in the bush. I'm still a guerrilla here. I've been a guerrilla in the government here, because the government doesn't support my position. I have problems in parliament, I get opposition. Lobbying, talking to these, calling committees, boiling tea and coffee, and as if I'm asking people to weed my garden. Then also opposition from the civil servants. It has been a struggle. It has been a struggle. Because if you audit all these achievements, many of them were our innovations in spite of the opposition by the different groups which you can name, 1, 2, 3. Who brought up the milk sector? You tell me, who brought up the milk sector? Was this the Minister of Agriculture? Not at all. It was us. How about the maize? When maize became a cash crop, the only person who helped me with the maize was Sectorico, the former Minister of Agriculture. The fruits, all these efforts which we make, many of them are by us, but facing opposition from some of the political actors, but mainly also the civil service. But also, in spite of the corruption, because corruption has become really big issue. And we are going to smash it. I can tell you, we have started with the airlines, and we are going to smash the corrupt people. If it was not for this opposition, we would have achieved much more. So therefore, this cabinet, what is this cabinet for? Number one, it is a cabinet of cohesion. We want cohesion in the system. Not for this one to say, for the president to say this, then somebody says something different, then no, please. We want a government of cohesion. The people elected something called National Resistance Movement. National Resistance Movement is clear what it says. I want the program of the National Resistance Movement to be implemented. And implemented enthusiastically. Not pushing people as if they are going to weed my garden. Secondly, it must be a government of no corruption. You people should be very careful. There is no corruption which I don't know. The only problem with Uganda is they say, I have told you, but don't quote me. This is the problem. Otherwise, whatever corrupt thing you do, I know. There's nothing I don't know. The one who asks for a bribe here, the one who, they come and whisper to me. Why didn't you record him or her? I don't want. But we are advising schemes how to capture these people. So I appeal to you, the ministers. Don't accept any favor. Don't ask for a favor from anybody, nor accept any. Even if they give you, say no. When I came from the bush, this Banyankore wanted to give me cows. I rejected the cows. No, cows, Banyankore, that was their Moses that had liberated them. So thank you very much. If I am Moses was not given cows. I don't need cows from you. I know how to get my cows. If you want to be a leader, I have been a leader for 60 years now. A student leader, a resistance leader, a state leader now, is because I never, this Banyankore, when lightning, when they knew something about physics, the Banyankore also, they knew the difference between light and sound. When lightning, yeah, the Banyankore says, Gambira hai guru, tikariya kamkaga no kamhara. You speak from there, don't come and hit me, because I have never taken anything from anybody. That's what the Banyankore says. Before the sound has come, when he sees the light, he shouts, you speak from up there. I have never eaten anything from a friend or from an in-law. I am clean, so please don't come and cause me problems. So the Banyankore knew that lightning strikes those who have got problems. So, please, these 60 years, you can see this opposition, they come up, what? They can't defeat me because they are telling lies. Because I have never taken anything from anybody. I only live by my sweat and by my struggle, and I don't owe anything to anybody. And nobody can say, you did this, I helped you to steal this money. No. So please, if you want to be durable leaders, don't accept any favor from anybody. Don't seek favor, don't accept any, even if they give it to you. And don't tolerate corruption under you. So the second mission of this cabinet is no corruption. No corruption. The third mission is integration. We are working on the unit of East Africa. That's why I put my young sister, Rebecca Kadaga, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for East Africa, assisted by Ikuya Magode. You know Ikuya Magode? Is he here? Stand up and they see you. Where is Ikuya Magode? Stand up, just stay where you are. Stand up, just there. There he is. That's one of my old comrades from the 1960s. He was our secretary for Uganda-Vietnam Solidarity Committee in 1967-68 in Mbare. The other day I was talking to Emugisu, one of my Bagisu supporters. He said, you have given us only 3 ministers, Bagisu. I said, no, you don't know your mathematics. There are 4. So who is the 4th one? I said, Ikuya Magode. Because he was operating in Mbare with Nabudere, just behind the BCU there. We had our office there. So integration, because we must resolve the issue of the market. The economy is growing, but the question is, where do we sell all these products? That's why we must address the issue of the East African and the African integration. This must be a cabinet of patriotism. Many of the people, they do things which are not patriotic at all. They don't care. They just care about themselves. There is corruption, but there's also lack of patriotism, lack of concern. I'll give you one example. We are hunting people who shot at Katumba and killed his daughter and killed the driver. And we shall get them using so many ways. The cameras saw them. I told the police, you show the public the video. And I'm sure they showed it to you. But the problem was that these people had covered themselves, their face. But there are other ways. Now, one of the ways, which actually I didn't know, I learned it from this policeman, because actually some people saw them, not on the scene, what do you call it? Not on the scene, but later, because they changed clothes and people saw them. There was no camera where they changed clothes, but people saw them. Now, these police have capacity. If I see you and I describe you, these police experts can draw the picture of you from the description, and then they get your image. And they put it in the computer and we get your appearance. They can do it. That's how we got the killers of Kajezi. That's how we got them. So I told this new deputy policeman, Rokesh, said, please, the police can use the description of those people and get the image of those people, and then we put it out. Amazing the people who knew how to do that had been retired from the police. Oh, those ones, the one who knew how this was retired. You retired him, and you didn't replace him? What sort of? Now, why should somebody like that? I want to know who retired that person. Without replacement, he will not remain in the police. So you can see, this is not necessarily corruption, but it is a lack of concern. He's not bothered, he doesn't care. And that's how the systems deteriorate. Even this corona, how is this corona spreading? It's spreading because people don't care. Even here in the State House, I have had several escapes with Mama here. The staff, we are supposed to be in quarantine, somebody goes and gets corona. You hear, oh, this one. I think 3 times, Mama and myself have escaped corona from this system here. Idiots. Why do you go to the public if you don't have a public spirit? Why do you say I want to work for the public? If you don't work for the public, go and do your own private things. So, the fourth thing I want this group to do is patriotism. Do things because you are a patriot. I used to come from, I was a young boy, in my 20s, 30s. I would come from Tanzania, come underground, come do underground work here, very dangerous work. Go back to Tanzania. Who was supervising me? Who was Mwalimu would send me, but he wouldn't be here to supervise me. We were supervising ourselves because of commitment. Nobody should be in the public if you don't have a public spirit. And if you are the supervisor, me, I cannot tolerate anybody under me. Once I detect that, out, you go. Because if I tolerate you, I am endangering the system. So patriotism. How would somebody allow the only policeman who has got first of all, why do you have only one person who has got a skill, which you know is very important? Why not multiply it by training? But if you haven't, how can you allow the only one who has got that skill to retire? Can you imagine? Oh, the one who knew this retired. Who allowed him to retire? So therefore, we don't want parasites in the public service. We don't want parasites. Parasites are things which take from but add nothing to the body. They take from the body, they add nothing. Then number 5, this government must be a government of service delivery. Because there is economic development, but there is service delivery. Education, health, the roads. I don't want to hear anymore all these outcries. The issue of justice, land. People are crying because of evictions. So therefore, this cabinet must look at those 5 targets. Service delivery, patriotism, integration, no corruption, cohesion, and cohesion.